Hi guys, welcome back. Quick video talking about the frustrations of owning vintage watches. Now this really beautiful little Longines, which I bought about a year ago now, and it was working perfectly. I paid approximately £80 for it. I've never even worn it out of the house. I've put it on a couple of times and it's basically gone in my watch collection box, and I've given it a wind every couple of weeks or so, and it's been working perfectly, keeping perfect time. Unfortunately, I went to it about a week ago and gave it a wound and it wouldn't work. Gave it a bit of a shake and it worked for a little bit and stopped. And basically it's not working. I can get it to tick for a little bit and then it stops. And this is a frustrating thing, kind of worrying thing about buying vintage watches, especially at the price point of around £70–80, something like that. If you buy a watch which is working, there's nothing to say in 6 months' time, you go to it, it stops working. Now, unless you can service that watch yourself, you're going to pay someone probably minimum of £50 to do a basic service. So straight away, you are going to be on the wrong side of the money situation of that watch. You know, you're no longer got a watch which you could possibly get your money back. So this costed me £80. I think it was quite a good buy. Working, definitely, but not working. And if I got to pay £50 to get this serviced, yeah, we're scraping to get our money back. So that's the kind of frustrating thing about it. And I absolutely adore this watch, and I actually want to wear it. It's only a small watch, but it's so stylish, and it's got a beautiful patina dial. It's just so classy with the coin edge, very slim. It's only got a thin, kind of slim leather strap on there. And the movement, which I'll show you in a minute, is gorgeous. Now, I'm not a watch expert. I can't fix watches. I can only do some basic jiggery pokery. So for you guys who probably know all about watches, I'll show you what's happening. I can't wind it anymore. I've pretty much got it fully wound. Now, if I turn the hands or put some pressure on the hands going forward, that can often get it to tick a little bit. So going forward, so there we go. So clockwise, a little bit of pressure on the hands, off it goes for a second. And a little while back, I was mucking around, just turning the hands. And I did manage to get it to work for approximately 2 minutes, then it stopped again. So I don't think there's much wrong with it. I kind of thought maybe something in the mechanism is jamming it, perhaps where it's been sat a long time, there's a little bit of dirt or something like that, which has slowed the mechanism up, because it was working absolutely perfectly before. And sometimes give it a little bit of a tap or a shake. Didn't work that time on a tap. It's being very temperamental. Sometimes with a little shake it will do the same thing. It will tick for a while and then stop. So that is, you know, I'm in a position now, well, I don't want to spend £50 to get this serviced. It's just not going to be economically viable. I don't mind. So the watch I'm wearing at the moment is this Seconda. Now this is another temperamental watch. Works when it wants to, then it doesn't work. You've got to give it a shake. But this was a few pounds. I can't remember. I think I paid like, I don't know, £10 for this. So even if it packs up, I can probably get my money back because I've cleaned it up. Even not working, it's probably around that price. Working, it's probably not a huge amount more. You know, it's a cheap vintage watch. It's a bit of fun. I think it's working a bit fast. I've just put it on just to give it a bit of a jiggle around and get it working. But I will be selling this on eBay, this one. So there's something I'm not worried about. If it packs up, it's not a lot of money, not a big deal. But when you're investing near £100, it's becoming to be a bit more of an issue when the watch suddenly stops working. So I'm going to try a trick with the lighter fuel, see if I can just put a little drop of fluid on the jewel, let that soak in just to see if that may solve the problem. I don't think it will, but at this stage, nothing to lose. So let's get the back off and have a look. Don't worry, I'm not going to slip my wrist, although sometimes I feel like it with these watches. You need a very sharp blade. Well, I do anyway. You need a proper watch back removal knife tool. I haven't got that, but what I have got is this global knife, which has got a nice sharp blade to it. Okay, let's see if I can pop this off. So just levering it against the lug and it pops off quite nicely. Obviously you've got to be extremely careful if you're, I don't advise using a sharp knife to do that. One slip and you're going to slice your finger. Obviously I'm a trained professional, I can do this myself. No, I'm only joking, it is a very sharp knife, very dangerous. So here we can see the movement. Really beautiful looking movement. I mean, it looks really clean. So let's just give the balance wheel a little nudge. Okay, so I've got my spring bar removal tool here. I'm just going to very carefully, as you can see, just give it a little nudge. It kind of wants to work. I don't know if there's something caught up somewhere in the drivetrain that's making this slow up, because it was working perfectly. That's the strange thing. It's gone from working perfectly to all of a sudden doesn't want to work. Sorry about the shaking of the camera. It's on a tripod, which is a little bit bendy. Okay, so I'm going to try, where's that roll into? A trick you shouldn't do because it can muck up your watch. I don't advise to do this, but sometimes I've had success by dropping a drop of lighter fluid onto the jewel, which the idea is it repairs the viscosity, I can't say that word, of the oil, the drop of oil that's behind the jewel. Sometimes that can work and get it going, but it's sometimes a temporary fix. Other times it's a semi-permanent fix. It's probably more than a drop. So it's a warm day here today. Summer's finally arriving. So hopefully the lighter fluid will find its way behind the jewel, thin the oil up that's underneath it if it's got a bit dry, and that might be enough to free this baby up and start working. We will see. It will probably take a little while. I'll give a little blow to the movement as well with my mouth, just to make sure there's no fluff or anything that's hanging around. Yeah, it still doesn't want to go. I'll give it a bit of time and we'll have a look in a minute. Well, I seem to have got it working. I let it soak in for about 10 minutes. And I've given it a bit of a wave around, get a bit of air flow through it, because a little bit too much lighter fluid went in there, so I just want to dry that up a bit quicker. But at the moment it's working. It's been working for the last few minutes. It may well pack up again. So I've just set the time and I'm going to keep an eye on that. Hopefully it's keeping good time still. So it does seem that it was a bit gummed up. The oil maybe had got to that dried up stage underneath the main flywheel, balance wheel jewel. So perhaps the lighter fluid has improved the viscosity of it, and that's what it's taken to get the thing running. So for me, it's been obviously a cheap fix, but it may well stop again. But at least for now, it seems to be working. How long that will work for, I don't know. I totally don't recommend using lighter fuel. It can do damage to the watch. It could unset the jewels, or it could work its way to the dial and obviously cause havoc with the dial. From what I hear, it won't do too much damage to the mechanism itself. In fact, watch keepers use lighter fuel to clean parts with, so from what I hear. So I don't think it will cause any problems. It might move debris around that then causes problems, so that's another issue. You might loosen a bit of debris from one area of the mechanism, which could get jammed in another area. I'm not an expert. I just thought I was willing to try because it wasn't working. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try this trick. It's worked on other watches, cheaper watches. This is the most expensive watch that I have tried this method on. And it seems to be working okay. Let's just count the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think just a quick estimation of a 5-second period, it seems to be fairly correct. I should check that against another watch really. But when you have a fast watch, often a 5-second period will go by in 4 seconds. So you know immediately it's running fast. And sometimes I think when they do need a service, that's what can happen to them. They can start to run fast. So we'll leave this for a while and see if it is keeping accurate time. But it's nice to see it working again. I'm still not convinced it's not going to stop any second. It looks like it's got quite a nice bit of power on the balance wheel. Again, I'm not an expert, but it doesn't appear to look lazy. It looks like it's got some power there. I could be wrong. So maybe there was just a bit of debris somewhere, gumming the works up where the watch had been sat for a while. I don't know. Maybe the drop of lighter fluid has cleaned that through somewhere. And me waving the watch around in the air a little bit, trying to make sure everything was dried off, has perhaps helped blow the cobwebs out a little bit. If there was any dust, or it only takes a minute little bit of hair or something like that, you know, where you've had the back off. If something drops in there, it can get into the gears. And obviously it's not going to take much to slow a watch down. Just a few particles of something or other. So it could be as simple as that, because it was working so well before it stopped, which made me think, oh, is something maybe simple that's just blocking the mechanism. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to pop the back on and we'll keep an eye on it. Thanks for watching. And as I said, please do not use a sharp knife to take the back of your watch off. I totally don't recommend that. That was done because I haven't got the right tool and I was willing to take the risk of cutting my finger. And do not use lighter fluid to fix your watch because that's just stupid. I was willing to take the risk, but I don't recommend it. You could do far more damage and it's probably a silly thing to do, but I don't want to spend out having this serviced. So I thought I'd give it a go. I'm going to keep hold of this watch. This is just for me. So we'll pop the back on. I think it just pops back on anyway. There's no arrows or anything. Snap that back on. And so I'm just checking the time over there and it is keeping, where are we? It's keeping, it's yeah, saying 14:54 on my analog clock over there. I think it's keeping good time so far. So fingers crossed, it's okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.